Hey everybody, and it's still Friday, so I'm making a second video today. I I don't know why, but I just feel an urgency to finish John, and I'm still feeling really bad today. I got a sore throat and my head, my ears, and I think it's sinuses. I don't know. My body hurts everywhere. It's no fun, but I have this urgency, so I want to continue reading in John. We got 18, 19, 20, and 21 left to go. I'm going to make these into separate videos because I know people don't really like to hang around for a 45-minute video. People nowadays really like something quick and to the point, and then they go about their day. So I'm gonna divide this up for you guys so it'll be easier. Chapter 18. All right. This is about Jesus getting arrested. It says, when he had finished praying, Jesus left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. On the other side there was a garden, and he and his disciples went into it. Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas came to the garden, guiding the detachment of soldiers and some officials from the chief priests and the Pharisees. They were carrying torches, lanterns, and weapons. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked him, "Who is it you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "I am he," Jesus said. And Judas the traitor was standing there with them. When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. Again he asked them, "Who is it you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they said. Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he. If you were looking for me, then let these men go." This happened so that the words he had spoken would be fulfilled. "I have not lost one of those you gave me." Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Y'all know I can't do these names. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Then the detachment of soldiers with its commander and the Jewish officials arrested Jesus. They bound him and brought him first to Annas, who was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. Caiaphas was the one who had advanced the Jewish leaders that it would be good if one man died for the people. Advised the Jewish leaders that it would be good if one man died for the people. Simon Peter and other disciples were following Jesus. Because this disciple was known to the high priest, he went with Jesus into the high priest's courtyard. But Peter had to wait outside the door. The other disciples, who was known to the high priest, came back, spoke to the servant girl on duty there, and brought Peter in. "You aren't one of this man's disciples too, are you?" she asked Peter. He replied, "I am not." It was cold, and the servants and officials stood around a fire they had made to keep warm. Peter also was standing with them, warming himself. Meanwhile, the high priest questioned Jesus about his disciples and his teachings. "I have spoken openly to the world," Jesus replied. "I always taught in synagogues or at the temple where all the Jews came to gather. I said nothing in secret. Why question me? Ask those who heard me. Surely they know what I said." When Jesus said this, one of the officials nearby slapped him in the face. This is going to be hard for me to read when we get into all this because I love Jesus, and this, I mean, this is hard stuff that he went through, and it breaks my heart. So y'all bear with me, because I know what's coming. Okay. He slapped him in the face. Is this the way you answer the high priest, he demanded. If I said something wrong, Jesus replied, testify as to what is wrong. But if I spoke the truth, why did you strike me? Sorry, y'all. The Ananias sent him bound to Caiaphas, the highest priest. Meanwhile, Simon Peter was still standing there warming himself, so they asked him, you aren't one of his disciples too, are you? He denied it, saying, I am not. One of the high priest's servants, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, challenged him. Didn't I see you with him in the garden? Again, Peter denied it, and at that moment the rooster began to crow. That's what Jesus had said, that he was going to deny him 3 times, and then before the rooster crowed. Then the Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the place of the Roman governor. By now it was early morning, and to avoid ceremonial uncleanness, they did not enter the place because they wanted to be able to eat the Passover. So Pilate came out to them and asked, what charges are you bringing against this man? If he were not a criminal, they replied, we would not have handed him over to you. Pilate said, take him yourself and judge him by your own law. But we have no right to execute anyone, they objected. This took place to fulfill what Jesus had said about the kind of death he was going to die. I don't know if I'm saying this guy's name right. Pilate, Pilate, Pilate. That's what it's gonna be. Okay. Then Pilate then went back inside the palace, summoned Jesus, and asked him, are you the king of the Jews? Is that your own idea? Jesus asked. Or did others talk to you about me? I am a Jew, Pilate replied. Your own people and chief priests handed you over to me. What is it you have done? Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders. But now my kingdom is from another place. You are a king then, said Pilate. Jesus answered, you say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and come into this world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me. What is truth? Reported Pilate. With this, he went out again to the Jews gathered there and said, I find no bias for a charge against him. But it is your custom for me to release to you one prisoner at the time of the Passover. Do you want me to release the king of the Jews? They shouted back, no, not him. Give us Barabbas. These names, y'all, these names. Barabbas. Yeah. Barabbas. Well, this guy. So that guy, he was taking part in an uprising. That's the end of chapter 18. And as I promised, I'm going to make these into individual videos. So I love you in the Lord.